The 20th of December is International Human Solidarity Day, which emphasizes the importance of the global community finding common ground with respecting difference, and reminds governments to uphold economy, trade, health, human rights, and peace treaties. Human rights, on the other hand, are universal values. Taiwan is a free, democratic, and international society that the international community has stood the Asia democracy beacon. Can you imagine in such a democratic Taiwan? Another case of human rights violations that have been dragging on for 25 years. From the Tai Ji Men 1290 case, which many experts have listed to refer to as the Laws and Tax 228 incident, we can witness all types of national crime, including how to unlawfully exploit authority and persecute the people. It's incomprehensible that Taiwan, which proud itself on its democracy, can witness such horrible national violence. Through our forum today, we inviting through interviewee to share their story with us and lead us to the truth.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good day. My name is Yaling. I feel really honored to be here and share this topic with you. December 20 is the International Human Solidarity Day. The New England Holocaust Memorial in Boston, USA, is engraved with a famous poem by Martin Niemöller. In the beginning day, they came first for the communists, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a communist. Then they came for the Jews, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a Jew. Then they came for a trade unionist, and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a trade unionist. Then they came for the Catholics, and I didn't speak up because I was a Protestant. Then they came for me, and by that time, no one was left to speak up. In social life, we often came into contact with various public affairs, such as public facility planning, social topic discussions, and the formulation of norms and the systems at century, all of which involve affairs of our interest relative to people in society. Because of the different roles and the identity in the group, each person will be given different rights and obligations, and the scope of public affairs that can participate in is also indifferent. For example, when the National Taxation Bureau has overviewed the handling of people's tax cases, the tax assessment will be in a state of uncertainty, which will affect the people's property rights and also cause delay in subsequent administrative relief procedures. The disappearance will affect the people's appeals, litigations rights, and the effective relief provision of Article 2 of the International Covenant own civil and political rights. Therefore, every citizen can express his opinion and can request the Ministry of Finance and the Tax Collection Agency to strictly abide by the provision of the tax relief period. Einstein once said, "This world will not be destroyed by those who do evil. A person who observes and keeps silent when something wrong happens, if you don't stop it and care about it, it will encourage such behavior and ultimately harm others and yourself. Therefore, participate in public affairs requires individuals to in public affairs with a conscience." Dr. Hong Daozi, the shifu of Tai Ji Men, mentioned the motto of conscience in March 2021 as "Conscience, the beginning of life, the fire of life, the source of goodness, and the art of harmony." I really feel that if members of a group are indifferent to public affairs, a few people may decide the direction of public affairs. It may also affect the right of others due to lack of supervision and implementation, or make the allocation of resources unfair. The Tai Ji Men in Decide, which scholars called Legal Test 228, has gone through 25 years of human rights persecution, although the third instance judicial verdict has confirmed innocent and no tax affairs arrest. It still suffers from two-thirds of illegal tax bills and seized land in less than a month after being forced to auction by the Administrative Executive Office twice. It was immediately transformed to the state. The case of unjust, wrong, and failed Tai Ji Men has not been effectively resolved for 25 years. This is a serious violation of the Constitution for the protection of human rights by the judiciary and the administration, and it is a very serious human rights persecution. We call on government agencies to be conscience-oriented, people-oriented, and law-based. Only when the laws and taxes are reformed can Taiwan's economic be good, because everyone in Taiwan is an economic contributor. Thank you all.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am Wayne, and I am police officer. I have joined Tai Ji Men for about 25 years. My shifu daughter Hongdao's once said something really struck me. The mankind be free of fear. I didn't understand why it made at first. Then as I watched shifu lead the brothers and sisters to spread love and peace all over the world, I realized shifu usually taught me to love myself and love the people around me. In my job and workplace, I use the phrase restrain myself more and protect the safety and the convenience of those around you. When I studied in police university, my professor once taught me human rights are the rights to be a person. It is enjoyed by all, regardless of what others may take away. However, if people do not learn to respect one another, they will face discrimination, intolerance, injustice, separation, and slavery. For example, as a police officer performing traffic duties at an intersection, I am aware that I must allow every passerby through the intersection to pass quickly and safely. But when I encounter people who do not obey the law, I will first advise them to obey the traffic rules. And if the advice is ignored, I will report them to the police according with the law. Reporting and banning is not the only way to teach them how to control this behavior while also protecting the safety of others. For example, running a red light for your own convenience may cause others to have a traffic accident as a result of your action. Some may only lose property, but others may be injured or even lose their lives. Absolute freedom is impossible to achieve in human society. Things will develop in the opposite direction when there becomes extreme, said the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu. For example, trespassing is a crime committed when you enter someone's home without the owner's permission. Theft committed when you take something from someone without their permission. Entering people's homes or taking their belongings is one person's freedom, but it violates the freedom rights of many others. It is not only difficult to achieve complete freedom, but it can also result in the loss of someone's property, body, or even life. As a result, people's freedom must be limited in order for the majority of people to realize their rights. I used to be the police station's director. There was a sand and gravel mining area in the jurisdiction. At the time, every day, hundreds of gravel vehicles shuttle back and forth through the village. Because the large vehicles were traveling at too high a speed, The tires made the loud noise every time they hit the ditch cover. It frequently woke up the elderly in their sleep and caused children to cry noisily in their sleep. Furthermore, the gravel that fell out of the carriage could easily cause motorcycle riders to climb. Every day, villagers would come to the police station to comply. So I would remind them truck drivers to drive slowly. If they do not obey the speed limit notice, they will be fined by weighing as required by law. Indeed, I understand that some truck drivers are paid by the trade unit. They also need to earn money to support their family. So the burden of not complying red tickets is very heavy for them at the time. Each red ticket for overloading costs $10,000 NT, and the point were too much for them to bear. Each time 2 points reach set points would result in the suspension of their driving license, on which they relied to make a living. They would have no income nor means of subsistence if their license was revoked. As a result, they never hoped for red tickets from the cop. We continued to persuade drivers who did not follow the rules and insisted on paying them in accordance with the weighing law. We also required them to drive at a speed of less than 40 kilometers per hour. When passing through the village, there is a protest in every place where a gravel truck passes by. But why not in your area? Said a reporter who came to the police station to interview me. Meanwhile, a gravel truck passed by the village at such a slow speed that he could see clearly. Now I see why, he said as he turned to face me. He was to find a happy medium between the villager and the gravel truck drivers. After all, residents of the village have the human rights to live there, and the gravel truck driver has the right to use the roads. Let's respect each other and work together to achieve a win-win situation. Human rights, as we all know, are the birthright of all people, regardless of race, gender, nationality, language, religion, or any other status, and include the right to personal opinions, speech, freedom, body, and life, to unite the heart and the mind of every global citizen. However, it is necessary to learn to care for and respect one another, rather than simply chanting the slogan, "Our world will be a more peaceful place, and the people will be closer to each other." If we learn to restrict ourselves and make it more convenient for more people. That's all for my sharing. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Christine and I'm a Tai Ji Men dizi. I have retired from elementary school. I had just started teaching at the school. One day, I received a phone call from my father during class. I was told that my mother had been admitted to the intensive care unit due to illness. My mother died 3 days later. I was not psychologically prepared for the sudden death of my loved one, and I was filled with fear of death, which caused me to feel tense and full of negative thinking. I assumed there was bad news as soon as I heard the phone ring. My psychological anxiety was being a mere source of concern for me. Nightmares frequently continued to affect my mental state the next day. Later, on my husband's advice, I went to Tai Ji Men to practice Qigong and cultivate my mind. Every day, I practice Qigong step by step, especially the many love reminders from Shifu to his dizi, which fill me with energy. My ancient mind gradually calmed down and eventually let go of the negative emotion that had accumulated over the previous 10 years. Shifu also teaches his dizi to follow their conscience, to be honest with themselves, to reflect, review, and repent of their actions every day, and to make changes whenever possible to improve themselves. So, I learned to admit my errors and apologize. I used to believe that apologizing was both shameless and shameful. I would never admit to my students or children that I had made a mistake. As long as I was wrong, saying sorry to others had become second nature. On December 19, 1996, however, a good spiritual practice group like Tai Ji Men was violated by justice, despite the fact that Tai Ji Men was found to be innocent and tax-free in the third trial on July 13, 2007. The NTB continued to issue illegal tax bills, failed to comply with the court's rulings. What's more, the Administrative Enforcement Agency auctioned off and nationalized Tai Ji Men's land in Miaoli last year. 史月生, a tax collector, was recently reported to the death of cancer. In an interview before his death, he revealed to the media that the Tai Ji Men case was led by Prosecutor Ho Kwan-ren, who asked him to give false testimony. As a result, the tax bills were fake and made up of nothing. On December 7, 1970, German Chancellor Willy Brandt laid a wreath in front of the Warsaw Jewish monument in memory of the victims of the uprising. After tying the wreath notes, Brandt took a step back and knelt, which became a symbol of European reconciliation. In addition, in 2008, Germany Chancellor Merkel traveled to Israel to commemorate the 60th anniversary of the nation's founding and delivered a speech in Congress. She apologized for Germany's persecution of Jews during the Nazi era. Germany has become a water powder because it understands how to admit mistakes, reflect on them, improve, and honestly face the mistake of the past. Advice from others may be beneficial in correcting one's flaws. Because Germany is willing to admit his mistake, face them honestly, earn forgiveness and respect, and subsequently promote cooperation and exchanges between Israel and Germany. I call on the government to face the illegal civil servant persecution of Tai Ji Men, shifu, and dizi, freedom of belief, to severely punish illegal officials, to return Tai Ji Men's auction land, and to restore justice to Tai Ji Men. Please also remember historic lessons regulate civil servants to have conscience, administer according to law, respect people's freedom of belief, restore people's trust in the government, and improve Taiwan's future. Thanks all.
During these years, we have been able to appreciate the international importance of the UN and what can be achieved with the UN bodies in the defense of human rights. Over the past 4 years at the UN, with the help of the organization present here at this conference today, we have repeatedly denounced the discrimination against minorities around the world. We have brought to the attention of the UN the discrimination of religious minorities in China, such as those suffered by the Uyghurs, the member of Falun Gong, and more particularly the dramatic case of the member of the Church of the Almighty God. Session after session of the Human Rights Council, we organized conferences, made written and oral statements, we held meetings with the state delegation, during which the victims were able to make their voice heard. In June 2021, we brought to attention to the UN Human Rights Council the case of the Tai Ji Men and the injustice they suffer in Taiwan. At this Human Rights Council, we denounced how the tax weapon was used to harm Tai Ji Men. In this statement, we highlighted and denounced the unscrupulous means used by the Taiwanese government in its attempt to destroy the Tai Ji Men movement. The use of tax weapons against spiritual minorities is unfortunately common practices in many countries, including France, which finally, after a struggle to denounce this injustice practice, was condemned by the European Court of Human Rights. In September, at the 88th Human Rights Council session, we renewed our appeal for Tai Ji Men. This time, we highlighted the confiscation of this Tai Ji Men place of worship by the Taiwanese government. This is another form of discrimination, just as serious, because the spiritual community cannot exist without a place of worship. Today, the situation of the Tai Ji Men can no longer be ignored in the world, and the Taiwanese government must allow the Tai Ji Men to enjoy their property, their place of worship, and to make their contribution to world peace without worry. The UN mechanisms allow civil society to participate in the improvement of our society, and it is important to continue to speak out against the unfair treatment of Tai Ji Men by the Taiwanese government. In 2009, Taiwan ratified the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, ICCPR, and the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights. The ICCPR guarantees fundamental rights for every citizen, as well as freedom of religion or belief. The signing of the International Covenant is of paramount importance, but there is still a step to be taken to implement and respect the commitments made when the Covenant was ratified. The model proposed by the United Nations is a balance between these institutions, the member state, and civil society. In these three components that ensure that the fundamental purposes established in 1945 by the Charter remain at the heart of the United Nations. Taiwan, like all other states, must find this balance with civil society and grow with it, not against it. It is in fact the struggle of the Tai Ji Men that we support so that justice is done to them, so that their contribution to a better, peaceful, and harmonious Taiwanese society is recognized. Thank you for your attention.
In today's world, when the virus is expanding and people are terrified, all humans must set aside their prejudice, confront the world with their conscience, respect everyone's human rights, and collaborate and be united honestly, in order to create sustainable growth and make everyone happy. I sincerely hope that the future will be brighter and that we will be able to live and work in peace on our beautiful planet. Thank you all for coming today, and thank you for your participation.